Hello friends, and welcome to Ariel's Twilight Years, how to be a really old model. And this week has been extremely eventful. Last Friday, my article came out in the Huffington Post, which was huge for me. It's the biggest publication I've ever been published in, and I've not been writing very long, so it was really important to me. And I got a whole load of lovely emails from people, so thank you. I also got quite a few emails from people trying to convert me to another religion. And then, 2 days later, I heard that I had won Submissive of the Year in the ManyVids Awards. Now this is also huge for me, especially because over the last year I've been trying to be a lot more frank with the sort of stuff that I shoot. So I've shot a lot more explicitly submissive sexual work, and it's been quite frightening. So to get an award for it makes me feel quite a lot more safe and comfortable with what I've been doing, which is lovely, because I suffer with self-doubt, just like I'm sure many of us do. So I wanted to talk about success because I was aware, as I was waiting for the awards to be announced, I really wanted to win because winning's nice, but I also wanted to win because I'm afraid of not succeeding. And I suppose that's probably something a lot of us struggle with. And I'm aware that by winning, I get to not have to worry about all those horrible feelings I would have got if I hadn't. But by winning, I have potentially given those bad feelings to the people who didn't win. That in any given hierarchy there's someone at the top, and being at the top is nicest, and not being at the top isn't nice, especially when you were trying to be at the top. While I was waiting to find out if I was at the top or not, I was thinking about how we tend to compare ourselves to other people. I suppose I just wanted to say to those of you who are newer and have had less success in your career than me at this point because you haven't been doing it as long, I want to tell you that I'm beginning to suspect that however successful you become, your fears and insecurities don't really go away. This is the week that I won an award, and still, if I see pictures of an art nude model who's doing a pose I can't do, it still makes me feel awful for a couple of minutes. And I have to tell myself that that's unfair of me. Or a model who's got a better physique than me, or a physique that I judge to be better. I struggle with that, and I go and look in the mirror and try to work out if they really do look better than me and if there's anything I should do that would fix my perceived problems. And then I see my peers who shoot more fashion than me, and I'll see them doing something with a professional makeup artist involved. They might have a really successful Instagram account with all these really stylish pictures, and it makes me feel amateurish. You might think I'd tell myself, oh well, I'm a bondage model, it's okay. But you know, when I look at bondage models, I see them doing things I can't do, like upside down suspensions, and it makes me feel inferior. And you might think, perhaps in the spanking world where I've won many awards, I would feel safe. But no, I don't. I see newer models who've got higher pain tolerance, and it makes me feel bad about myself. So I want to reassure you that when I talk about this subject, I'm not coming from a place of security. I'm coming from a place of plentiful insecurity, probably like many of us. And it's really easy to look at other people's work and compare yourself and feel bad about yourself. And I think where it becomes very unhealthy is when it not only makes you feel bad about yourself, but it makes you feel bad about them. And that's what I sort of want to talk about today, because just while I was dealing with all of this, thinking about, oh my goodness, will I be a success when my article's out, and if I win the award, and will that make other people hate me? It just so happened that someone, and I'm not going to say who it was, I don't even remember who it was, started a Twitter thread that I ended up reading. It was basically saying, oh, these models who publish their OnlyFans earnings, it's so tacky and gross talking about money. And I read the thread and I read all the replies, and there were a lot of people, both fans and other models, going, oh yeah, it's awful. I don't agree with that, and I guess it's evidence of someone making a marketing choice and someone else seeing it and it upsetting them because of what they extrapolate about themselves as a result. So it's true that I suppose when you market yourself by saying, oh look how successful I am, like come and buy my product, I'm really good, to some people they'll see that as a slap in the face, like it's saying that the other models in your genre aren't good and aren't successful. So it made me think, is that an appropriate response? And is that an appropriate way to market yourself? Because I have to admit that although I don't publish my statements for OnlyFans, I am really frank about how much I earn generally and what my earning trajectory has done. And I've talked about that kind of stuff a lot for many reasons, not least because I hope very much that it is helpful to newer models. So I thought I'd talk about the 3 strategies that I can see, especially models who are selling straight to fans on things like OnlyFans or Clips for Sale. There are basically 3 strategies that I see. The first one is, I'm so horny. Basically involves telling your potential customers, oh God, I'm so horny, I'm on cam now, come and be horny with me. Or, oh, this was so sexy, I just shot this amazing thing, I had 9 orgasms, come and buy it. That's a perfectly reasonable strategy. That is one of a number of strategies I would not tell anyone they shouldn't do at all. The second one that I see a lot of is, oh, I'm so poor. Oh no, I don't have my rent money. I've slashed my prices. Come and buy stuff because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do next month. And 3 is, I am so successful. Wow, I'm having my best month ever. Come and buy from me because I am so successful, everyone loves what I do, and you're going to as well. Now, all 3 of those strategies have some problems associated. If you go down that, oh, I'm so horny, like constantly gagging for sex thing, I dare say that you are likely to be the recipient of some very horny, thirsty messages from potential customers who take you at your word and think that they've got a chance with you. This is not insurmountable. I'm sure you just need to kind of put your boundaries up and kind of control the dialogue a little bit with those people. But a positive of that is, you're selling a sexual product and you are marketing it in an appropriate way. You're saying, I find this sexy, so are you going to? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. The so poor strategy, I have seen a lot of models kind of mocking creators who do this strategy, but I think, well, if it's true, then I don't think any strategy is wrong. If that's the actual fact, then why not say it? I think it will attract a certain sort of customer because I think it might well attract someone who wants to kind of rescue you, to save you, and that can be a lovely thing, or it can be a bit of an overwhelming thing. I think you might well attract white knights, or you might attract the sort of person who they might want to insert themselves into your life to fix everything for you, and that might be what you want, but you might find that quite invasive. And of course you might also get someone with less good intentions who wants to take advantage of that you've just expressed the fact that you're financially vulnerable, and they think that this is a great opportunity to try to get you to do something you don't want to do. So again, has some tricky things about it, but it can certainly work for you. And if it's true, then who's to say you shouldn't do that? The third strategy, telling people, I'm so successful, come and buy from me, it has the disadvantages that people might think you are terribly trashy and a show-off and you haven't got any class and you're boastful. One of the criticisms on the Twitter thread I saw was that someone said, well, I wouldn't buy anything from a shop that said it was really successful and didn't need my money. And I thought, that is a fair point. And I don't think a good strategy for a creator would be to say, oh, I'm so rich I don't need your membership. But I can see a huge difference between saying, oh, I'm already so rich I don't even need to be a model, and saying, I am so rich from my modelling, and that tells you how good I am at it, which I think is probably a more sensible way to go. I think I wouldn't want to use this strategy if it wasn't true, but I see a lot of financial domination creators using this strategy because I guess no one wants to be financially dominated by someone who isn't successful, perhaps. I see professional models using this a lot, saying, oh, I'm so booked up, that's the last date gone before Christmas, wow, I'm being booked up so far in advance. And I think it's interesting that of those 3 strategies, the one I see being used most outside the sex industry is that we're so successful. You see books being advertised as #1 Amazon bestseller. You see authors tweeting that we're in the top 10. You see the same in the music industry. Oh, we've just gone platinum. You see it with broadband providers, rated #1 or most popular in the country. And this tells me that it's quite a good strategy that lots of people from lots of different industries have focused in on. You don't see energy providers saying, oh no, we're losing all our customers, please come and keep us out of receivership. And I think there's probably a reason for that. So that is the strategy that I have always followed. Back when I was a photographic model, I used to make sure that it was obvious which websites I'd worked for to show that I was being employed by lots of different people in lots of different genres. I liked to emphasise the fact that I was booked up a long way in advance, that I think it meant that people tended to panic and book me far in advance because they knew that there was no other way to get me. And now I like to point out that my OnlyFans membership is growing, that I'm in the top 50 on clips for sale, I've just won an award on ManyVids. It has the advantage of being true, but it also has the advantage of projecting an image that you're on an upward trajectory, and I think that means that people want to get onto your train with you. So I would say ways to ameliorate the worst effects of doing this strategy of look how successful I am is only say what's true, because if you get caught out exaggerating, you're going to look ridiculous and people aren't going to trust you anymore. If you are successful, always try to share your success with the people who have helped you get there. My OnlyFans membership, for example, I feel like it's a collaborative effort. It needs all of us. It's not just me that gets me more members. It's my existing members talking about how much they're liking the content that means that members come and join and people stick around for the sense of community. You know, it really isn't one person's effort, and I think acknowledging that is really wise if you're going to use the strategy of, oh, look how successful I am. I think it is probably more palatable to say, look how successful we are. I also think if you are successful, and if you're going so far as to tell people how much you earn in some way or another, it probably is wise to try to give something back to your community, whether it's in advice, which is what I try to do with my YouTube channel, or in, like, I know Savannah Solo gives away 10% of her profit to sex worker charities. I wouldn't be wanting to talk about how successful I was if I wasn't also like trying to help other models, because I feel like a dick. Hello, this is YouTube. Not been on YouTube much before.
No.
But this is Gareth. This is Howell. I'm talking about how to mitigate the bad effect of going on about how famous and successful you are.
Oh. How about not going on about how successful and famous you are?
I can't do that.
No, I figured that.
So I think to make yourself seem a bit less unseemly when you do this, it's probably very wise. If you're going to talk about how successful you are, you should talk about how successful other people are as well. You should amplify other people's success.
Yeah, praise your friends.
Yeah, praise your friend, praise your competition, because I think it's a really good mental exercise. It probably makes you look better, but it actually makes you better to do that.
And I think there's an argument of rising tides.
You have to be seen if you talk.
There's an argument about rising tides lifting all boats as well, that this becomes a progressively more glamorous, high status profession that people think
that's a
well
nice
of, which is one of the things I think about praising the BDSM producers whose work I really like, because I happen to like it. Maybe customers will see that it doesn't have to be stuff shot in a grubby dungeon somewhere in East London.
Yes, and I think that if all the models on Twitter, if we were all like bitching about each other and going, oh, everyone else's work is shit, I don't think it would give the best impression of the industry to fans, and they might not want to be part of it, which I think would be perfectly understandable. So I guess from that point of view, just trying to be positive about each other. And I don't mean not genuinely, I mean genuinely. Say the good stuff that you actually think. I don't mean just flatter people. I mean, like Dale Carnegie said, be complimentary, but be sincere. It's no good if it's not sincere. Celebrating and cheerleading other people's success means that when you do it about yourself, it's much less palatable. And if people don't find it more palatable, it's because they've got a problem. It's not because you've got a problem. And I think then you can just ignore them.
Swaying. Right, I'm going to
Thank you, love you.
Love. Not on camera. For shame, Emma, for shame.
Is there something wrong with you? Why don't you want to share everything with the world? Why don't you? Well, why though?
You have in that question the seeds of its own answer.
Bye-bye now! If a video that you shot with a co-performer becomes your number one, and this is incredibly obvious, isn't it? I'm sure we all do this, but credit the co-performer, talk about how good they were, don't just take all the glory for yourself. And those are the things I try to do to maybe take the sting out of the fact that I've chosen the strategy of talking about my success quite a lot. I'm aware that it still makes some people feel bad, not just me talking about my success, but other people. And sadly, it got back to me that one of my employers had been saying quite horrible stuff about my financial success. I mean, it's very hurtful. So I guess I do experience both sides of this issue, as probably most of us do. I know what it's like to envy other people and be resentful and wish that I had what they had. And I know what it's like to have someone say horrible stuff about you because they're envious. And that's horrible too. So I found a thing that always makes me feel better. And I'd like to share it just in case it hasn't occurred to you, because I find it incredibly helpful. If someone says something or does something that makes me feel bad about myself because of their success, it's tempting to go and say horrible stuff about them. It is. I'm completely capable of doing that. And when I was younger, I might have done that. And I know that then it makes me feel awful, and it doesn't actually make me feel any better. So I found, instead of saying something horrible about them, go and say something nice to someone else. And it always, always helps. So I would say, if you are tempted to start a thread about how annoyed you are about a model who's publishing her success story or being in the top 0.5 of OnlyFans, maybe consider what you could do to make other people feel better rather than what you could do to make her feel worse. I wanted to make a video to say I am so happy about winning Submissive of the Year. It means an awful lot to me, but I'm aware it means an awful lot to me because of the insecurity that I carry that a lot of us do. And I know that competitions only make the winners feel good and tend to make everyone else feel worse, because I've certainly been in that position plenty of times in my life as well. So I didn't want to just celebrate it, I wanted to talk about how sometimes other people's success can make us feel awful and what we can do about it. Please let me know which strategy you choose as a model. Would you do so horny, so poor, or so successful? I will be back with more. I've got some big ideas coming up for my channel. Please like and subscribe. It may feel like a fruitless thing to do, but actually it means a lot to me. So thank you as always. Join me next month and I will be back with more how to be a really, really, really old model in April. Bye bye!